Hello, friends, family, and people I have never met. Welcome back to my YouTube channel to watch Life Without a Mother series. This is a part 3 of a continuous series of videos on this subject. If you haven't watched the previous parts, kindly go to my channel, click on Playlist tab, and open Life Without a Mother series section. Watch it and come back to this video to not miss a continuous concept. Thank you for your lovely feedbacks. You have inspired me to make more of these videos. Personally, part 3 and 4 were the hardest for me to make, as the topics were so confronting. I had to take little breaks in between to recover. So it took more than a year to finish this particular video, so brace yourselves. Disclaimer: I'm not a psychological expert. Please pause and read the disclaimer. Like in my other videos, I would like to give credit to Holy Spirit who downloaded these insights to me in November 2017. I was desperately in need of answers to my lifelong questions. After these revelations, I was able to understand myself and others around me and help people who went through mental turmoil. Even though these videos are confronting, it will also sow the seeds of knowledge and insights by bringing into light deep-rooted issues in our soul which no one discusses. Understanding this will make you a better person. You will never be the same again. So let's jump in. I am so happy that the unspoken dark side of motherlessness is finally concluding through this video and the next. I can focus on making the steps of healing from motherlessness in the following videos. So far, we discuss childhood grief, self-pity from overwhelming feeling of lack in part 1 and lack of maternal attachment in part 2. Today we are discussing the last part of lack of maternal attachment, that is lack of social interaction with the mother. As you know, I lost my mom to status asthmaticus when I was 3 years of age. We are discussing uncomforted child syndrome, which causes chemical imbalances in a child's body from lack of maternal intimacy of social interaction. The battle is in the mind. Death is not just a concept, but a reality that threatens the capacity of the mind to remain intact. And that is why we have to dig deep into how a mind works. This applies to all human beings, not just a motherless or troubled child. I will try to explain how mind works through chemical and neurological process with the help of the concept of stimuli, which causes response, which becomes the habit of a person. Research says that grief increases inflammation in our body, which can worsen our health problems or create new ones. Intense grief can alter the heart muscle so much that it causes broken heart syndrome. Stress links the emotional and physical aspects of grief. Even the size of the heart changes during intense grief cycle. First, the nervous system. Nervous system comprises of two main components: sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Sympathetic system helps us to take the fight and flight mechanism or impulsive response in a state of emergency. For example, If your pan on the stove catches fire, your sympathetic system kicks into action, firing an array of chemical and nerve reactions within the human body. This helps you to react to a state of emergency. While the parasympathetic system helps us to function and grow when we are in a state of rest and digest. Logical thinking part of brain works at this time. When a motherless child or child in an abusive home is always on the edge of emotions with no comfort from maternal attachment, child remains in a survival mode, which means child's sympathetic nervous system is activated from stress, releasing body chemicals like adrenaline and noradrenaline. Fear is the main emotion that constantly stimulates his physiological response in the body. Fear of being unprotected and uncomforted trains the child's nervous system to stay alert or anxious, expecting a danger at any time. There are 3 stages of fear. First is the alarm, where there is a perception of danger. Second is the resistance, is when the body responds to danger. Third is exhaustion, when the body tires out. It also causes adrenaline fatigue. In response to stress, the adrenal glands release great amounts of cortisol. When the stress doesn't stop, the adrenals tires out and is unable to perform any more optimal body function, resulting in body ache, fatigue, nervousness, sleep problems, digestive issues in the long run. In adulthood also, the system does not know how to properly relax, being on high levels of stress since childhood. Let's look more into the aspects of stimuli and response, or input and output of the mind. We will discuss stimuli or triggers through thoughts, words, emotions, and response through actions and behaviors. What are the common triggers of stress in a motherless child? Grief from death of the mother, anxiety of daily tasks and events, depression from emotional exhaustion, from fear thoughts, post-traumatic stress from abuse and neglect, triggers from past trauma, memory or exposure to certain people, places, circumstances, dates of deaths, anniversary, birthdays, they all cause triggers. Carers should be aware of grief symptoms around certain dates. Kids whose parents have died early have a different relationship with the concept of death. For them, visiting a funeral home is different to others. Motherless kids also carry the weight of certain hurtful words from others, which we already discussed in part 1 and 2. How these triggers certain thoughts in the kids. As we know, normal thought processes are linear and goal-oriented, but an irregular thought process is tangential. Flight of ideas are loose and there is a lot of thought blockage. High level of stress causes chemical imbalances which can cause derailed thinking patterns. One needs to be in a parasympathetic or rest and comfort state to create happy chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, prolactin, oxytocin, which in turn causes happy thoughts. Normal thought processing involves reasoning, remembering, imagining, problem solving, and making judgments. Every minute of every day, our body is physically and emotionally reacting and changing in response to our thoughts. What thoughts our brain focuses more on becomes our belief system and the atmosphere in our mind. Let's move on to our next stimuli, which are our emotions. Our emotions can be our reactions to internal or external stimuli. We need to be conscious to have emotions. Consciousness is our awareness to our own body, self, and surroundings. This is possible with the help of peripheral nervous system, which catches the stimuli, and cerebral cortex in our brain. This involves our memory, our attention or focus, our thoughts, our awareness, and language of expression. The way we process our conscious and unconscious components affects our behavior. That's when the importance of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management comes into effect. If one can understand, use, and manage self and other people's emotions, it's called emotional intelligence. It assists in relieving stress, communicate effectively, empathize, overcome challenges of communication, and diffuse conflicts. There are three elements of emotion. First is the subjective experiences. You alone know what you are going through. This depends on a person's past or current state of perception of thoughts. Physiological response of the body by enzymes, nerve triggers, and hormones. And the third one is behavioral response, which is the end result of an emotion after thought processing. An emotionally intelligent person processes thoughts and responds, recognizing the situation accurately. The response are not fear-driven but rational. These have good emotional regulation capacity. In a deranged thought process, the trigger of fear has created a pattern of habitual reactions. The way we respond to a stimuli, that is thoughts or emotions, remains same until a consequence or threat to the pattern is faced. Like I said before, the battle is in the mind. Now let's move on to actions and behaviors. How and why do people behave in a certain way? People behave by choosing a previously learned strategy in a particular situation, or improvising a previous behavior, or developing a new kind of behavior to accommodate the situation. Now let's look at the negative after effects of uncomforted child syndrome in detail. The two main effects I have selected are anxiety and addiction. Let's look into the first one. Constant state of anxiety. One would think only motherless kids have anxiety. Any kid who are under constant stress can experience constant anxiety. In a motherless kid, constant anxiety can be because of stress in daily tasks, worried that they will mess up, worried about school tasks, people who might hurt, menstruation, relationship with opposite gender, anxiety from not having the presence of a protector, hurdles in social life, no reassurance after seeing a nightmare, no one to report or take seriously after an abuse or bullying, etc. They have troubled teenage years because of identity crisis, low self-esteem, isolation from community, tensions in relationships, emotional over-dependency or withdrawal. They feel unsafe and insecure. The child believes he or she has no protector because they feel abandoned. Some abandonment can be real. Other can be perceived wrongly because nothing from the caretaker is satisfying the kid. This is because of high expectation put on the caretaker. The child is not able to relax even at home in a motherless home. The same effect in a home with domestic abuse or alcoholic dad. Home, which should be a place of rest, is not for an abused, misunderstood and neglected child. The child presents hypervigilant to avoid hurt or danger. Or the child can also present hypovigilant with others due to being ignorant of social norms. As I said before, rest is necessary for proper brain cell growth in children. When the child is not able to relax their nervous system, they internalize so much thoughts and emotions, overthinks, self-doubts, accuses self, feels insufficient, lost and confused from lack of intimacy with the parent. Child presents withdrawn or impulsive or rebellious or intimidated. Second effect of uncomforted child syndrome is addiction. Addiction to anything by anyone is a loud cry for help. Addiction is a desperate attempt of an individual to alleviate a discomfort in our emotional or physical state. We all, as humans, crave knowingly or unknowingly for a state of rest and comfort. Troubled children are prone to addiction because of lack of intimacy. Addictions are adapted to calm one's nerves or self-soothe. If we look into our own life, we can see our addictions. Addiction, I believe, can be cured by filling in the gaps of our emotional, physical, and spiritual need by conscious and subconscious healing. Earlier the healing happens, the better, as some addictions have a point of no return. People turn antisocial and crimes happen because of this. We will discuss how family, love and care can fill these gaps in part 5 of this series. Let's have a look at common parenting styles and their flaws. I have divided them into overprotective and spoiling or guilty care, neglectful and ignorant care, balanced care. In a spoiling kind of care, the child have a sense of entitlement. These kids take advantage of their carer by making them feel guilty. They believe they deserve privileges and recognition when they want it. In other words, they become a bit self-obsessed. Another parenting type is the harsh one. The kids get everything the hard way, constantly criticized and taught to work hard. Also involves harsh punishment for mistakes. A child who haven't received grace and mercy from parents will not learn to show it to others in a public setting. Disciplining a child really tests the parents. It needs so much patience and perseverance. What a hug or careful listening should have fixed the wrong behavior in the child when it is dealt with ruthlessness, due to ignorance, impatience, and unwillingness to humble attitude of the parent have resulted in very bad results on the kids. Physical and emotional abuse kills the spirit of the child and presents to be dull, socially withdrawn, or rebellious. Angry people are those who feel unloved, misunderstood, abused, or frustrated. Those who doesn't know how to regulate their emotions. We all experience it one day or the other. But hurt people hurt other people. Hurt parents hurt their helpless child who has nowhere else to go. Anyone's real character is revealed the way they treat when they are alone with a helpless child or person who can't defend themselves. For a child who is harshly punished at home or anywhere else, the learned response from the abuser will be anger. Anger is contagious. It carries on from one generation to another and so on. It's not easy to break the cycle in your generation, but it's doable by choosing how you respond, how you act towards a helpless or annoying child. A child who has lenient or spoiling parent knows better to show grace and mercy towards others than a child who had harsh parents. A healthy, supportive, merciful mother can see past the tantrum and the anguish of the child and grounds the emotion to express freely, and thus calms down slowly with a mother's sacrificing, unconditional love. The child feels safe and secure to express their emotions freely. The child feels accepted and acknowledged. However, it's a bit more easier to show mercy to your own kid when they do something wrong. That's when a motherless kid suffers. Home is where a child receives rest, growth, comfort, security, protection, love, joy, peace, mercy, contentment, discipline, and values. Next, we will discuss about the functions of a mother in part 4. If you enjoyed my video, like, share, and subscribe. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.